listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Terra Nova. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Terra Nova news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Terra Nova.
Woo!
Welcome,
Terra
guys.
Nova.
I am joined by lovely Kristen Carey.
Carney. I want to be someone different too, so you can call me Carrie all you want.
There you go. All right, and Gabriella Loren.
Yes, you got it right.
I got that one right.
Congratulations.
And see, there's just so much stuff going on in my brain. It's tough to keep like even just names. I mean, this show is fantastic. But before we get into the show, again, there's so much to talk about. I do want to say real quick, for any AfterBuzz fan, we are doing the Breaking Bad edition live from the John Lovitz Comedy Club this Sunday night, October 9th. And it's at 7 p.m. So what's going to happen is our fans will get to watch the show with us. And right after that, we'll do our after show for Breaking Bad live from there. And Maria Menounos from Extra and our own Maria Menounos, who's the network head here, she will host the panel with the stars and crew of the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I'm definitely going to be there.
You guys doing popcorn, anything for the...
Well, there's going to be food and drinks.
Awesome.
It's better than popcorn.
Yeah.
Drinks.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
And now, for those of you listening to this podcast, you're like, well, you know, I'm not necessarily a fan of Breaking Bad. I don't really care. Right? I mean, it's true.
Who
It's not
cares?
his thing.
Come out for a good time. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, for those of you watching on Ustream, look at the lovely ladies I have over here, correct?
Comment on that.
The
Comment.
headphones aren't becoming, but...
Well, all I'm saying is all of your favorite AfterBuzz TV hosts, or most of them anyway, will be there, and you'll get to meet them. And the more we support this show, the more we're supporting AfterBuzz TV. Because if this goes well, there's going to be the opportunity to do more shows from there, whether it's regularly or just the season finales. And hey, I look forward to that, and I hope everyone does too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
John Lovett's Comedy Club is actually tons of fun. I've been there a bunch. I do stand-up, so it's always a good vibe, a lot of fun in the audience, and John Lovitz is there sometimes. So it's,
He is. He might be there actually that night.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the John Lovitz Comedy Club is in Universal City Walk. That's in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So if you're not in Los Angeles, get yourself a ticket. We won't reimburse you for it, but hey, again, the little that we do ask, most of our stuff is free. We don't monetize this, and so this is your way of supporting us, and so we're really calling all people to come out and support.
And
Yeah.
if you support, then that means we might be able to host our Terra Nova finale one day.
That's right. And with that, you know, it'll really kind of put us on the map. So, you know, now Fox can kind of see, okay, this is what it's all about. Why don't we send some of our, you know, cast to AfterBuzz for the Terra Nova edition, which will be really fun.
Right.
that would be
That's what
awesome.
we're hoping.
All right. Well, and speaking of Terra Nova, this is the second episode. And before we kind of break down the scope of tonight's episode, just general thoughts from the first episode to the second. Do we like it? Is it getting better?
I
Is it-
definitely.
You go,
We're
because mine's
excited.
going to be worse than yours. so you
Yeah,
go.
hers is going to be a little more on the negative side. I'm just kidding. I think that this has a much faster pace than the first episode, because the first episode, of course, was 2 hours long. But the plot line was just moving. It was moving. One minute, the reptile birds were swarming the village, and then the next minute they solved the problem. So it was like all in one episode, you got your answers for that.
For me, I felt like that was a little bit of a problem because I want to see a continuation of a problem. I want to I feel like the birds should have been taken care of in the next episode, so it would pull me back in. I think they resolved it a little too quick. So I didn't find a main central theme to pull me into that. It was almost like its own segment. It was
You know
like
what I think?
the end, and now we'll begin anew. So I would have liked to see a little bit more of a like a rope leading from this episode to the next episode, besides just the love interest or like a family drama.
I think if they kept it the same, but then had the birds come back towards the very last minute.
If there was a last scene of like
it
one
didn't
pecking
work.
someone's eye out, I'd be like, all right, I'll be back.
No, but as if like they came back to the village, their plan didn't work, or just like one
Right.
of them at least, so we knew that there was
Yeah.
going to be something that was
Right.
going to happen in the next
Right.
episode again.
Yeah, there wasn't like the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so we're kind of talking about the birds already. For me, I didn't mind it as much because the through line of kind of what I see Terra Nova as now, it is going to be that family drama, and I do kind of like that. I like how, I can now expect that every episode I can come in and there's going to be an inciting incident and it's going to be solved by the end. But the tension really is within the family and things like that. Last week we had to go outside of Terra Nova to really get the drama. Now the birds coming into Terra Nova, and I think that's kind of thematic of what this season will really be, is that the drama is contained to the family and to Terra Nova.
And it's also Terra Nova is not safe.
It's not.
It's not at all, and I love that part about it now because it adds to the drama.
If I was creating a Terra Nova, a little colony, I'd put a roof on it to begin with.
That was on my notes.
I was thinking that. I'm like, are they gonna put make this a greenhouse or something?
Because they knew they were flying dinosaurs back millions of years ago.
And the dinosaur, or whatever, the reptilian bird-esque whatever we're speaking of, they're pretty small. There's so many big ones out there that you'd expect, okay.
Right.
So I feel like you're totally right, and I wrote that as well.
Maybe you could put like a moon roof if you want to take a shot of that giant big old moon. But I mean, that I think would have. But again, I don't want to solve the show and be that person who's like, that wouldn't happen. So
I mean, just structurally speaking, how hard, it must be pretty hard to build a dome over something that is pretty large. It's technically a village or a city, whatever
go
you
to
want to call
NFL Stadium, you'll find that. Giant roofs.
Yeah, it's probably
they're-
just as big. The NFL stadiums are probably just
Bigger.
as big as Terra Nova.
Electric. Except they did have that one falling out with one of the roofs caved in with all the snow. Maybe there would be a malfunction.
I know. I'm just saying it might be tougher than we think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I expect a lot from our future. I have
You mean
high
our
standards.
past?
And our past, yes. Both one and the same
Yeah,
now.
they better
Or the
know
sa-
something being in that year and coming back.
Right.
They better know something.
But I guess you know what? Now we might get into this in predictions, but who knows? On the agenda might be, let's build a roof.
Right. They get a lot of roofers, a lot of,
Or how about what would
manual
you like
labor
to see?
jobs.
Exactly. And you know what? Maybe as through the recruitment process, you know what? Maybe we need some more contractors.
Right, exactly.
That's a very good point.
Right. A lot of construction management.
Yeah, they're just, besides the doctors, they're just taking random people and placing them in a job. For example, the dad who was in jail, he was a cop, but they stuck him in agriculture. I mean, I know it was kind of a punishment, but at the same time, it's like they're not bringing in people who own farms, which they probably didn't even have in
jobs for
2149.
Mexicans going on.
Yeah, who owns farms in 2149?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did you see how technologically advanced they were in the first episode? Like, there was no rural areas in this film on the first, or movie, TV show, because it feels like a movie, but TV show in the first episode. It was not like that. It was all city-like. The cars are about to be flying or something.
Right.
It was crazy.
Farming isn't number one on the agenda.
No.
I think
Those
we
old
got to
corn
get
stalks.
it there. Maybe, please, if you're listening, Terra Novians, you might want to start with farming because as in the future we notice an orange is a rarity.
Right.
So let's not forget that part of it.
It does have some similarities to Idiocracy, that movie. How in the future there was no, they
That's
were
what I
watering
hear.
their plants with Gatorade and things like that. So
I hear that. I have yet to watch that movie, but I hear it's very good.
Yeah,
I hear
it's
it's
great.
the more kind of depressing version of WALL-E. Is that true?
I haven't seen Wall-E, but I've seen clips of it. I know it's like fat guys drinking Diet Cokes in a moving chair to bring them to the sink if they're gonna wash their hands more innocent. The Wall-E's definitely a more innocent version.
I would say so. So the big theme of tonight was Jim being out of place. But before we kind of get to him, I did want to speak about Josh and his sort of plot line. we find out very quickly that from last time, him and the girl, his love interest, what's her name, by the way?
Skye.
Skye, that's it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
See?
Good job.
Know what I'm doing?
IMDb.
You know what?
Woo-woo.
That's a very symbolic name because obviously in the future,
They couldn't see the sky.
That's right, and maybe his mind was clouded with his prior girlfriend, and now he's seeing the light.
Right. I feel like I'm in English class.
I know.
And I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Well, I mean, this
Symbolism.
show's, that's why I love doing this show because I like solving these mysteries, and I've kind of read some things that I will bring into our discussion about Jim from the fans, and I always love kind of seeing what the fans think, and so it'll be interesting as we kind of develop to see what they write in and their thoughts and whatnot.
My thoughts, the only thought that matters.
That's true. That is very true.
I would actually like to hear what people think about Josh, though, because is he like a blossoming character, or is he that kind of cliche teen angst, like kind of angry kid who's nothing goes right for? I don't find him to be super original, so I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear a couple takes from people just to see if they find him genuine. I just think it's a little bit. It seems a little bit forced. He's too good looking. You can't be angry when you're that handsome. Life's great.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, he seems like I know the sister Maddy is way smarter than him, and in
Yes.
fact smarter than the family.
She takes after her mom.
She does, but at the same time, I could see why he's kind of angry, and I don't. Mind
Yeah,
them.
but your father was in jail because he kicked the shit out of a cop for your family. You can't really hold that against. You can't hold that against your dad, who's like kicking ass for you.
You know what? Most guys.
It's not like he was like doing drugs.
Most guys, unfortunately, hold a grudge on their fathers. You know what I mean? And it isn't until kind of later.
Until they get laid, that they change their mind. Then they loosen up a little bit.
I guess.
No, but it's especially if you lose your father and he's not in your life, that's your role model. So you're going to be affected in some way. It just depends on how you handle it.
And especially, if you really dissect it, think about it last time, he brought in, the first episode, he brought in the orange. And so in that sense, it's a symbol that he's always been the provider. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, this responsibility got dumped on Josh when the father was in jail for 2 years. So, and it may not have been something that he was ready to accept.
Yeah, I don't think anybody at his age is ready to accept something like that.
Exactly.
At all.
And the interesting part is, Josh gave up the band. They touched on it briefly, where the band kind of broke up. Could that have been the reason?
He was in a band.
Yeah, him and his former girlfriend.
I was too busy judging.
He mentioned that to Skye, right?
Yeah, not something you want to say. I mean, right? Am I correct, ladies?
Well, she kind of brought it up with the necklace thing. She knew.
Yeah.
She was like, that was your ex-girlfriend's?
But question, girls, and please answer individually. You guys always kind of probe guys of like, what was your past relationship like? But do you really want to know?
Yes, because it deciphers whether or not you want to be with that person. Because if you don't like the qualities about how they handled past relationships or who they may be, because you might not know them yet, that's why you're asking them those questions, then you don't know if you're going to want to be with them, and it helps to decide.
All right, what about you?
I just want to know if I'm better than them.
But will you stay with them if they're not?
Well, if they weren't better than me,
Yeah, if they're not better than you.
well, hopefully they don't admit they were better than me, right?
Fair.
Oh, actually, she was much prettier and she was a better artist. I'd be like, I'll see you later. So I'll always be better.
So was Josh given the right answers? I feel like I was like, dude, take a lesson.
Yeah, he's weak right now. Very sensitive, and it was definitely not the way to go if you want to keep a girl in your life. But he's young. He's probably probably his second experience. So
Literally, that was his first. The girl he left behind.
I'm still on my first.
Are you?
I'm old. Yeah, I'm a nerd and
That's
I'm old.
actually nice. So how long have you been with your first?
About 4 years.
Wow.
Congratulations.
See, it works for Kristen. She's got it.
I've got taste.
Yeah, you do.
Does your
You know
guy
what
have a
you're doing.
necklace? That's
He
platinum.
He used to wear like the choker, which intrigued me in Facebook pictures before
Mm-hmm.
I knew him. I was like, I don't know what I think about this.
Oh, we don't do rings anymore. It's necklaces.
Oh, it wasn't a necklace for me. It was
Welcome
just
to
like a generic, his own necklace that
Fair enough.
he picked out for himself. But.
True.
Well, I mean, it is interesting, kind of, the necklace in itself is, I guessed it, that it was a symbol from the past relationship, and obviously it gets revealed that it is, in fact. And the new symbol is the guitar, where Skye wants him to learn the guitar, and she eventually, makes that bet knowing that she's going to give him that money to be able to buy it. So it's interesting how she is kind of moving him away from that past relationship as quickly as she can.
Can I just bring up something? I don't know if I missed something within the 2 episodes, but does Skye have family? Because she mentioned that she wanted to check after the whole bird attack, the reptile attack. She mentioned that she wanted to check on her housemates.
Housemates. Well,
Where is their family?
remember from last time, she lives with the housemates because they all have their own jobs and their family. So it's basically they were old enough and responsible enough to be able to have a house of their own rather than have to live with their parents like the Shan family.
Right, but don't you think it's a little weird we haven't seen her family at all?
I thought the head cop was supposed to be her father.
No, that's the other. Isn't it one of the other people that was in the woods?
No,
The boy,
son.
the son.
The
that
son
ran
who we haven't
away.
met yet.
Yes, we haven't. Well, he was in the first episode for like
Was
a
he?
brief second.
Did we see him?
Yeah.
They brought him up. We never saw him.
No,
he
I-
did the
I saw
drawings.
him.
You did in your dreams.
Did you get the
Maybe.
deleted version of the
I
show?
think I watched deleted. Listen, I know the producers. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I thought I saw him, but maybe not. I mean, it was a pretty trippy episode, so you never know.
Yeah, I think they brought him up and said how important he was going to be. The Sixers,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we ever saw his face
Well,
unless he was one of the birds.
I don't believe so.
well, fans, let us know. Did we see his face?
It was kind of like
And if so, what do you think he looks like if we didn't?
you have to kind of TiVo it and play it in slow-mo to kind of see him running through the bushes. Kind of thing.
He's naked.
I saw him in the bushes.
Fair enough. Any last thoughts on Josh before we move on to the kind of big picture of tonight's episode?
Would you date Josh?
No, God, too sensitive. No.
All right, too sensitive.
Too sensitive.
Well, he showed his masculinity by being able to fend for his family.
Yes.
The guy who's in love with Maddy.
Yeah, he fell
gets
right
not-
to the ground.
Yeah,
And he was in
exactly.
the big army suit.
So, yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
I
What
mean,
about you?
I think if I was his age, I'd give him a chance because he manned up and he saved his sisters, and
And he saved the guy too. Come
I
on.
mean, yeah, he did. He has some of his moments, but overall, I think he's a strong man. He takes after his dad. Hey. And I think his dad's
New love
cute.
interest.
I think his dad's cute. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he's hot.
He is,
I have
right?
a crush on
Did
him.
you see his body when he
Yes,
was in the bed?
yes.
I'm sorry, I have to say.
Yes.
He had like an 8-pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say the parents have a sexual tension, which is good. I can feel the chemistry, but who wouldn't
can.
have chemistry with his
Well,
body?
It's interesting because a lot of the fan forums, I'm specifically citing IMDb, we're talking about how last episode Elisabeth, the wife, made him sleep on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And come on, it's been 2 years, and you're gonna make your man sleep on the
Right,
couch.
right.
So
Get with it.
they had kind of predicted a scenario with sexual tension, and that's not to say, although they predicted it, that doesn't mean it was uninteresting. I actually like it very much. What about you guys?
Yeah, I like the tension because I think it also will add to the situation with Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly, the husband and wife, they're still into each other, but he's still feeling Jim's feeling insecure. So he's not doubting the fact that she might go with Malcolm. He's, questioning. If you were totally secure in the relationship, you wouldn't bring it up. So clearly, although there's sexual tension, there's a lot of emotional issues.
What do you, I'm sorry, go ahead, Gabrielle.
No, well, I was just gonna say, yeah, there's definitely sexual tension. I think that they're a great couple, and I think they should stay together. I hope nothing breaks them apart. Although I'm a little nervous because of this Malcolm character, because I think they brought him in for a reason, and he clearly brought in Mrs. Shannon for a reason. But I don't know. I think the couple, Mr. and Mrs. Shannon, work well together. Mr. and Mrs. Shannon, I love them. I want them to be together forever. So I just think Yeah, I think that's how it should
When they get
be.
divorced, we have to have names for them.
Yeah.
It'll be a Ms.
It would
Shannon.
be so futuristic, though, if they got a divorce, because that's so the trend.
Right. Marriages don't last in the future either.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's keep it together.
Well, I think this guy is going to be Malcolm in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely, I think, there to stay. They didn't resolve anything. I think there's sexual tension with Mrs. Shannon, Elisabeth.
Yeah.
I
Would
still
you guys
prefer
rather
Mrs.
us would you rather us call them Mr. and Mrs. Shannon or Elizabeth and Jim?
I'm going Betty and Jim.
Betty and
Benny
Jim.
and Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Well, I will say the reason why I like Betty and Jimbo is for the reason that opposites kind of attract, and they have a different chemistry going, and so I like that very much. In terms of Malcolm, I was thinking before I kind of speak to him as a person. At the top of the episode, we were talking about the spy, or at least that Taylor and Jimbo were. And so I was thinking, is Malcolm the spy?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Because obviously, as you guys said, he's brought in for a reason. And I think this show's a little bit smarter than to just bring him in for the sexual tension. I think there's something more to be had. And as much, we'll get into this more in predictions, but just by the fact of Malcolm is very useful to the tribe. We talked about kind of that people have uses, and he, of all people, really has great use. And as much as Jim doesn't want to depend on him, he actually is depending on him and has to.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the moments when he's trying to rush, for them to find the, what do they call it? I'm just going to call it
Pheromones?
There you go. I was going to call it the aphrodisiac. Because apparently birds scream like...
That's not what they want. They don't want an aphrodisiac. They'd create more birds.
Well, the birds, that's what they were going to do anyway.
Yeah, that they were
think
totally
pheromone,
getting
maybe.
it on.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear what did Commander Taylor said
At the
that they
end,
were
the
even
little humor.
louder? Yeah. With
That's
that.
hot, right?
I mean, I don't know. Those birds weren't so hot. Maybe if they were hot birds, I would. If it was like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'd be like, yeah, but.
Bow chicka bow.
Wow, we got to have a new special segment. Which dinos would make the hottest couples? Where was I going with this? But yeah, I mean, Jim, I think...
Totally
You
made
get nervous by the talk of sex. We totally lose track.
Wait, you guys, this is why the show is supposed to be about the show. Because we're bringing the dirty in here. We are.
There you go.
Awkward silence.
So yes,
Back on track.
transitioning back to Jim and Malcolm.
Do they have bird condoms?
I
trying to throw it
think
out.
they don't. No, they don't. Especially in the past, we haven't really. I don't think.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of, because they wanted population control. They've got to have some
Bird control.
birth control down there.
Bird.
Not for the dinosaurs.
Bird control.
Yeah, I don't think they're really controlling the dinosaurs.
Birth control for the birds.
It's the benefit of being a dinosaur. You just do it all you want.
And again, to kind of make it a more serious subject on this dino reproduction. No, in Jurassic Park, that's how they controlled the population. Was they made dinosaurs that were only female, so they couldn't reproduce. And obviously that went to hell because all of a sudden, the famous Dr. Ian Malcolm, I forget who he's played by, but he says, life finds a way. And so, they're not controlling. I think at that point, 2149, they might have seen Jurassic Park. They're like, you know what? We really can't control dinosaurs, so we're not going to control their reproductive habits.
It's a good point.
True.
It's the least of their worries.
They learned their lesson.
That's right. But we can migrate them to a new breeding ground.
Yeah, get them out of here.
Do you think at all they're going to start killing off the dinosaurs? Do you think that's going to be an angle at all, where humans start to, endanger the species? Because, dinosaurs do die off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another question I actually had about the show. Is the future as the civilization that I'm not part of, clearly, continues into the future. Dinosaurs were killed by like an asteroid that hit Earth. Are humans preparing for that at all? because if they continue to grow in the past, they're going to have to deal with something like that. So it could kill off the entire species of humans.
Well, we could definitely talk about that in predictions, but I will say perhaps the key lies in the cave drawings.
Right.
Yes.
So
There you go.
maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? All right, going back to Jim and Malcolm. I do want to, my kind of idea for this topic was that Jim's really been out of the game. And that's what Malcolm, the reason why he brought Elisabeth and the family back in was because he thought Jim was still in jail and was not going to find a way. And we obviously see Jim's been out of the game by what's demonstrated him in the family life. Like he's got the three things. Okay, food, homework, and bath, and can't even do that.
Yep, he can't remember. His head is in so many places. He's
right.
been out of the game.
Ladies, do you family man, is that important to you?
Family man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So a guy
Of
that can
course.
do dinner, homework, and bath.
Yeah, because
Cleaning's most important to me.
Cleaning?
if he wasn't doing those things, what would he be doing is the question.
Right.
You know?
He's
You can't watch
protecting Terra
on
Nova.
TV.
No, but in real life, because that's what you're asking us, do we want a family man?
Mm-hmm.
What would he be doing if he wasn't a family man? Is what I want to know.
You mean like
How
cheating
about
and stuff like that?
No, I just mean like if he wasn't the type of guy that cooked, took care of the kids, like what type of guy would he be? What type of husband? Like not
I
my
wanna
type
know.
of husband.
I want to
That's
know
all
what
I
type
was
of
like.
woman is Elisabeth. I want to, where I really wanted to get your guys' take is, what is Elisabeth and Malcolm's relationship in the past? Obviously, it's a big thing that they're not going to reveal for at least a couple episodes, I feel. But what do you guys think? How long did they date? How did they meet? Obviously, they met at university or whatever. But
I think they met. I don't think their relationship was anything that serious, because if it was, I feel like the meeting would have been a little bit more dramatic, a little less acquaintancy. Like if I meet someone that I dated for like 2 or 3 months, I'd be like, oh my God, hey, like you look great, whatever. Like I'm regretting that I left you. But if I was with them for a long time, I'd be like, how's your family? Like, I would ask more intimate questions. So I'm assuming that they were a little bit more in passing, but they did have a sexual thing going on.
mm-hmm.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, I do agree with your points. I think it was a little weird that when they saw each other again for the first time, it was, just like very casual. But I mean, university, think about how long ago, well, I guess if you're a doctor, it's different. But I mean, I feel like she's older now that she has 3 kids. It's like, come on, like how long ago was that? You probably haven't seen each other in like 15, 20 years. Like, what's the deal? If you don't see someone in a long time,
She's like, I didn't recognize you without your mullet.
yeah,
Like,
but
that's how
I
long
know
it's
that's
been.
another thing. People change. Like you look different.
Right.
You might not recognize people at your high school reunion when you're, like 20, 30 years out of school, more.
I think also in marriages, he was out of the game. He was gone for 2 years. Did she wander at all in her mind? Was she missing that companion man type? Did she think about him?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what she did during those 2 years without him. We
And
don't
I
know if
wanna
she
know
had
why.
any relationships or if she was yearning for somebody else, or that's all to be seen.
And I think we all want to know why they broke up in the first place. What happened between Malcolm and Elisabeth?
And with the theory of opposites attract, maybe it didn't work out with Malcolm because they had too much in common. They're both doctor geniuses,
Yeah.
and it does create,
Competition.
right? And it does create chemistry. He's a cop. There's not much in common with a cop and a doctor. Because
Yeah.
I know a cop couldn't like save my life. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I think
Well,
they're
they
dumb.
they
I
might
don't
be
know.
able to.
But
You never know.
yeah,
Well, is Malcolm kind of a creeper?
yeah.
I mean, if you look
He's
at it
a
on
creeper
paper,
with an English accent, which I've never heard before. Usually, I'm sold with the English accent, but he's creepy with the English accent. It doesn't wow me.
and again,
And I'm sorry, the accents haven't changed. You notice from like 1920 to now, we have a little bit of a different twang. They have the exact same accents. Very small details. I'm into details. Anyway, continue.
Yeah,
just
but
wanted
then
to
they
throw that
might
in
call
there.
it
No,
bad
that's-
acting if somebody they
Yeah,
change
yeah,
their
yeah.
accent. What are they doing?
Hello, mate.
Do they know what they're saying? Is the question.
well, I mean,
It's a
it's always
ridiculous detail. I'm sorry.
no, it is always interesting. I mean, if you watch Avatar, they created kind of, I mean, they did create their own language,
Right.
the Na'vi language. I don't know. If Tolkien was alive today, I'm sure they'd hire him to, like, all right, give us some an off-breed of Elvish or something.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
like
know.
details.
Fair enough. No, that's actually very astute. I like that. And
A+.
yes,
Thank you.
A plus. And I thought the really interesting part of tonight was the fact that, you know, as Taylor and Jim are trying to rush this, you know, the cure or whatever, the pheromone, he has to push his wife to really do so. Even though, and again, by pushing his wife, it means that he's also allowing Malcolm to kind of be a heroic figure in this event. So I thought that was a real interesting twist.
Yeah, it's a little heroic of Jim himself to allow Malcolm to become a little bit more of a hero than him. It takes a man to.
But then he also like kind of he's kind of shot down at the end because did you realize how he wanted to name the new reptile after his name or whatever? And the father, Mr. Shannon, Jimbo said, what did he say to him?
He mocked him a little bit.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, in your dreams" or something like that, like in your dreams or dream about it or something. I forget. A little nicer, but you know, he mocked him for sure.
It's a little narcissistic to just all of a sudden name the dinosaur after yourself.
Well, that's another thing. I was like, "What is your problem?" when he said it.
Well, question for you guys: is Jim worried too much about Malcolm? You know, is he forcing his energy too much on sabotaging Malcolm versus just making his relationship with his wife work? Because I feel like if he just, you know, if he just worked it out with Elisabeth, he wouldn't have to worry about Malcolm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know. I think maybe the testosterone, you know, is more powerful in a man than the brain sometimes. So I think that would lead him to want to have some beef with Malcolm, like step off.
Yeah,
And
I
his
don't
name's
think
Malcolm.
that dynamic's gonna change.
If like I were him and my wife was cheating on me with a man named Malcolm, I'd be a little insulted.
Fair enough.
Unless
bad name.
unless they become really good friends by the end of this, then I don't see that dynamic changing.
I don't think they're becoming friends anytime soon.
So yeah, it's going to stay the same. I would agree.
I think so too. Well, guys, before we head into a commercial, any kind of last thoughts? I know this episode, again, it was much more internal conflict. It wasn't as much of the mysteries as last time. You know, we were getting introduced to the world and things like that. But I liked that. I liked it as a follow-up episode. So anything that we didn't cover in the big picture of things?
Well, the big picture of things, I don't know if this is a big picture of things. However, they built on a breeding ground. I feel like that's kind of something that we need to talk about in terms of they're kind of setting this community up, I feel like, to have weaknesses and to show that they're not always planning ahead. And I think they're doing that to cause drama. However, I feel like as a viewer, it just kind of makes me feel like, you know, they didn't think ahead about the roof. They're building over like millions of eggs, like Indian burial ground, like never a good idea. I feel like, you know, some of that stuff I just feel like undermines the viewer a little bit because I just think it's a little not great writing.
Well, do you think it's kind of a sign of how idiotic we as a species are even in the future? And two, how, again, as we kind of been pointing it out, and I'm realizing more so now, most of the people that are there are either medical or, and it seems like militant, you know, somehow related to being soldiers. And so it doesn't seem like they're necessarily, no offense, the kind of smartest group or whatever, you know?
Well, they're doctors. I mean, they should be a little bit.
Well, doctors, they don't necessarily know.
Right,
like,
but I mean, that's a high echelon, you know, of people. So you want to keep them as safe as possible and create like the safest. I mean, if this is where you're bringing like the future, you want to like cover all your bases.
Well, I think the doctors weren't the people who decided to build their.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't
over
either.
eggs.
I don't think they're getting out their hoe and they're like
Yeah.
pulling dirt out.
But you never know. That could mean there's ulterior motives with people within Terra Nova that establish this for everybody because maybe they're doing some of these things on purpose. Maybe there's some moles.
Well, two things. A, in terms of the pilgrimages, right? Like, do they know that they're going 85 million years back into the past, correct?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. All right, that kind of threw off because I was thinking, like, as these people go through the time warp, they don't know exactly what they should be preparing for. Exactly. But I guess you guys are right. That argument's out the window. But I think to a degree it could be sabotage, but also most of the time when you're trying to build something, you don't really know. Just imagine if someone went up to you and gave you the task of, okay, you now have to rebuild civilization in order to save it. You don't know what you're doing. Like, the whole point is we sucked at it, we effed it up, and that's why we're in this mess. And so, we're going to make some mistakes along the way in doing so again.
I just feel like the writers are creating situations for them to write around.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, the time travel, it's a different, instead of being in that place where it can create a butterfly effect, the writers were like, no, we're going to create a different time zone and then we can write through that. So it's like they don't have to deal with like the real situation. I feel like they're like creating, it's almost like if I want to write a joke and I think something's really funny, instead of writing the setup first, I have the punchline already and then I'm writing the setup. So it feels like they're controlling the result and then fitting the premise in.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a little bit out there, but I just feel like the writing to me is a little bit low grade. That's just how I feel about the show. Like, I feel like that comparing like this to like the writing of Boardwalk Empire, I feel like this does not compare. Like,
well, that's a
at all.
biased opinion because you love Boardwalk Empire.
Of course I do. It's great writing.
There's no doubt that I would say Boardwalk Empire is much more symbolic. There's a lot more kind of to think about and interpret. Whereas this, I think, while there's mysteries, but it's kind of more for the lay person. But I like it because I just get to enjoy it. I think people are tuning in for the dinosaurs, for the fun action sequences. So I think that has a different goal than to be Boardwalk Empire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think the common goal should just be like really good writing, not to be Boardwalk Empire. But I'm very over analytical. I'm hard to kind of capture. I feel like in my life, I'm always like, well, this doesn't make sense with this, and then this doesn't make sense with this, and then I'm just like miserable and out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a lot more for me to enjoy something because I want to be settled in my brain first and like feel comfortable believing this, and then I can go forward. So that's my big picture thing. It has nothing to do with the storyline that we were talking about per se, but just in general, my take on the show so far is that I just feel like the writing is down a level. I feel like it could be a little bit more sophisticated. I feel like they could have developed the characters to be more original than this just like picture perfect family that's like, bah, 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 we love each other and we're going to do everything to be safe. It's a little bit bleh.
I think you're looking for it to be more realistic to you.
Yeah,
so
I just
like
wanted to,
you want to be
wanted
like,
to be
well,
gritty.
that could be like reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what you're looking for.
I feel like a little more grittiness in the story, and they'd have me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think for me, I wouldn't mind. Like, I like this because it's for entertainment, and I'm not. I see those things you're saying, and sometimes they annoy me. But with this, it's an entertaining show, and I'm totally satisfied with what they're bringing to the table. And you never know; these things might have like other types of answers. Maybe what we think are results are really just preliminary. More, like it's just to further more questions.
And here's the thing: I think just in watching the first episode to the second, I think they're defining what it is as a show, and I think they will find a good pace, and I think it will get to that point that you're saying. Maybe not exactly to the critical acclaim that is Boardwalk Empire, but I think it will start to get to the point where you want it.
Yeah, well, I like darker characters, and I feel like Malcolm is actually for me so far the best written because he's a little bit dark and a little bit mysterious, and you don't really know exactly because he looks like a clean-cut, nice guy doctor, but he's I like things below, not on the surface. So I feel like the whole family is a very surface-level family. I don't see any dimension, but I really like Malcolm. So if they develop the characters more to be have a darker side and not know what they're going for, then I would be sold.
Fair enough.
You're welcome, world.
With that, why don't we head into a commercial, and then we'll come back with our news and gossip and a very fun special segment before news and gossip, where we, as promised last week, will introduce you to a new dinosaur that you may not have heard of. So, Jesse, take us to a commercial.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig! The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
All right, guys. So we just found out that Kristen loves effed up dark characters who have problems.
They make me feel better about myself.
You may have gotten that from our earlier discussion, but it was revealed to me all during the commercial break. So if you're wondering why,
That, along with many other things, because I talk a million miles an hour.
there you go.
That was your news and gossip, by the way. No.
But we do have
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
There you go. So on the lighter side of things for Kristen in her life, she brought over a fun report on a dinosaur that she did this week, or research this week.
Yes,
So
teacher.
go ahead, tell us all about it.
I desperately don't want to flunk this class because
Homework.
I have in the past. I'm an official paleontologist. I feel like Ross from Friends. I'm as much
Okay.
of a nerd. It was hard to come across a dinosaur that's not really undiscovered because if it was undiscovered in
Well, it wasn't I'm sorry if I made this unclear. It wasn't to find an undiscovered dinosaur, but it was the goal of this show is to show you more dinosaurs other than the raptors and the T-Rex, which we've seen in Jurassic Park.
Right, a little bit more on the DL dinosaur, on the DL dinosaurs. That's what we're calling the segment.
There you
go. The one I found is actually a pretty kick-ass. It's a Spinosaurus.
Okay.
And I believe we do eventually have a picture to show you guys, but it was
It's right
there.
up there.
He is.
Very
That's pretty
cool.
badass. And
That kind of looks like a T-Rex.
it does, but it's in a completely different family.
By the way, for those of you watching, or not watching, for those of you listening on iTunes, it looks like a T-Rex with a spine.
With a spine.
It does.
You spineless. You can call them spineless if they're. It's not a good way to describe them.
So tell us more about this Spinosaurus.
Yeah, he looks mean.
He was mean. He was quite a man-eater, even though they weren't men then.
So carnivorous,
Yes,
as they say.
very carnivorous. He was actually one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs that have been dated. They're actually from North Africa, even though they're not black. Just kidding.
All right.
They originate in North Africa, and they actually were discovered in the 1920s. However, a lot of their evidence was lost in the World War somehow. I don't know if the documents were kept in Germany. I don't know why they were lost during the World War era.
Well, was it North? I'm sorry if I missed this part. Is it Northern Africa?
Northern Africa.
Okay,
yes.
because a lot of the battles did happen kind of there too.
Yeah. So basically, they said that a lot of their evidence, I don't know if it was they found more fossils recently in 2007 or something. So they're kind of bringing the dinosaur back out and kind of giving him his much needed attention because look how cool he is. They don't have any sort of real clue on why his spine is the way it is. A couple theories. One is it's a heat. I don't know if it distributes heat through the body, but they mentioned something about heat. And another theory was perhaps it made him look bigger than he was, so he was more intimidating to other predators. However, he was huge. If you put a man next to him, and go up to his toenail, which is about how long my toenail is right now. Let's not talk about that.
Isn't that crazy to think about that if you were to stand next to that thing, you'd be the size of the toenail?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
they basically would,
crazy.
you're a man, you come up to the foot area,
crazy.
maybe the lift of the heel.
Well, good thing we didn't live with those creatures.
You could use a pedicure.
That is nuts. Well, I mean, I guess you know, the humpback whale. What's the biggest whale?
The blue whale.
The blue whale. I guess maybe. In comparison, you know, we're kind of the same. But the blue whale again is not trying to eat me.
Yeah, they're not like killer whales though.
Right. These guys were definitely carnivores. That's for sure.
Now this was actually the dinosaur from Jurassic Park 3.
No.
Yeah.
I never saw Jurassic Park 3.
I
only saw the first one.
He fought. Actually, he's bigger than the T-Rex.
He is bigger than the T-Rex.
He if you remember Jurassic Park, the T-Rex is always the bad guy, but actually this is like the super bad guy, and he battles the T-Rex.
Yeah.
By the way, this is who? DJ Jesse Janity.
Yes.
Live from the booth. So this is not so much a dinosaur on the DL, but nonetheless a cool dinosaur.
Very cool. And his head, they said, is very crocodile shaped.
Yeah, I think he's actually the second largest of the carnivores. I think the number one is like something like an Alice. It begins with an A. I'm not gonna try.
You're showing me up here. This is not.
I'm not. I'm adding to your.
I'm gonna fail my class.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm adding to this.
If I may, a lot of people thought they kind of disliked Jurassic Park 3, and I didn't quite understand why. They said, you know, the dinosaur there, you know, it's unrealistic. It's a made up dinosaur, and I was like, well, no, it's not. So what are you talking? You know, if that was people's biggest complaint on not liking Jurassic Park 3, come on, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
That's because they didn't do their homework.
They did not.
But Kristen did.
So there you go. Anything else to add to our special segment on the Spinosaurus, also seen in Jurassic Park 3?
All
right.
Him and I would make good friends.
There you go. All right. Why don't we get into some news and gossip?
Kristen.
Oh, I'm the star of the show tonight.
AfterBuzz TV News.
A lot of the news and I didn't really come across too much gossip. I mean, I just saw tons of reviews, and I think the overall take was mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people were blown away, but I think they were impressed enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the main questions from everybody was it worth $20 million, the first episode? Was it worth it? I didn't get a lot of answers. There was a lot of questions, not many answers.
Well, let me tell you guys something. I went to the Facebook fan page, and it was at 16,000 a few days later. And I remember I posted to let everybody know we have an AfterBuzz show, and the next day it was up another 1,000. So I feel like we're building our fan base now. I mean, it's a lower number, but I think as the show goes on, it's only the second episode. It may bring it up.
It did steal the ratings. It was the #1 in ratings that week. And we'll see where it goes because, you know, if people weren't held in the first episode, you know, it may go down. They weren't the highest ratings of all time, but I think with a week kind of fall premiere season, I think it might stay in the running.
I think I already see it getting better, you know, from the first episode to this one. So I do have hopes for it, and I myself am praying that it stays and even gets better, because I want a show like this. I want a dinosaur show. I'm a nerd.
I actually love it too. I think it's fun. I love the mysteries. That's why I'm tuning into this, because it's adventurous.
Are we seeing any change? And another question was, how about the CGI? Some people were saying it looked a little cartoony. It was like a little bit Disney meets.
I think the problem may have been that they spent that village is built, you know. So why no dome? They might not have money for the dome. And two, in terms of the CGI, maybe it wasn't the biggest expense.
Do we know? Did they film this in California?
No, they are on location in Australia. They literally have Terra Nova in Australia.
I love it. Wouldn't you guys love to like visit the set? I would love to do just like a walk around of the Terra Nova set. I think it'd be pretty amazing.
Fun.
Maybe worth a 14-hour flight.
Could be.
Maybe.
AfterBuzz TV live from Terra Nova edition? No? Anyone?
That would be
that
awesome.
Would be awesome.
We'll like set up our booth in the middle of the field in the village.
To get in there, I'd be like, oh my God, your characters are so well developed. God. I love you guys. Please. Let me in.
Fair enough. Any other news apart from that?
Well, what do we think about Fox? They seem to cancel everything. Do you think the expense is worth it for them?
I don't think they're going to cancel this. They've said they want to, it's a huge expense. They're not about to just say, oh, we're canceling it, $20 million, whatever. And they say they want to give this a shot for at least a season, if not. I think they've pretty much said they'll let it ride out for 2 seasons and really give it a full shot.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that kind of commitment.
If it doesn't work out on Fox, do you think this could fare well on something like the Sci-Fi Channel?
Oh, I would definitely see it on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
But I like how Fox is, it's a network.
Mainstreaming it.
And, they're being ballsy enough to say, you know what? We're doing it.
Yep. And have we seen any increase in the look of the dinosaurs since Jurassic Park, which was about 18 years ago? Have we seen any advances? That was another little issue. In those 18 years,
I have to say
it doesn't look like they came up with anything new in terms of the look of the dinosaurs or the originality of the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't really go too off because then it's not it's not realistic. It's not reality.
Those are just some takes, I think overall I think people were, just buzzing over the $20 million cost.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Here's I think the big test. How will they use these dinosaurs? Because, the big kind of iconic moment of Jurassic Park is, they see the Brontosaurus and, oh my God, you have dinosaurs. And, the guys, I forget his name, the guy who built Jurassic Park, he says, welcome to Jurassic Park.
I got chills when he said that.
Exactly.
When I was like 12 years old.
And at this point, I didn't realize it was 18 years, but 18
Well,
years
I was not 12 at 18 years ago. I swear I'm not that old.
But 18 years ago, you're like, that no longer, while that was an iconic moment, now you have to kind of do something different with the dinosaurs. And so that'll be the real test of Terra Nova. What can you do with these dinosaurs? You can't just show them to us.
Right, because we've, bring it up.
So I'm excited. I think they're going to.
You guys are making me want to watch Jurassic Park again.
I love Jurassic Park.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I want to see it again because it's been so many years.
We should do an AfterBuzz show. Jurassic Park
should.
trilogy. I hear there's talks of a 4th.
Really?
Well, that's some news and gossip for
That'd
you.
be awesome.
I don't know if it's just rumors, but
Yeah. Well, hopefully in the future these actors will become a little bit of stars, so that we'll have some gossip about who they're dating in real life and where they've been seen, and get a little juice on them as people.
That'll be fun and interesting.
That will be like our next news and gossip.
Mr. Shannon seen naked at Chateau Marmont, drunk.
Oh my goodness.
It's a real story.
That's,
Flirting with co-star.
There you go. Who knows?
Flirting with Malcolm.
Oh no.
Well, is that all we have for the news and gossip?
That's it for news and gossip.
All right, that is your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip for October 3rd, 2011 for Terra Nova.
Uh-oh. Predictions. All right, well, can I jump into this?
All right,
I just want to say something. Right before this ended, well, actually, no, sorry. When this ended, we see the teasers for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It seemed very, very, very interesting. I didn't know if you guys all stood around for those teasers, because a lot of people changed their channels. But let me tell you, they brought up having memory loss, like some type of virus. Kind of reminds me of the movie Contagion. But where they can lose their memory, and you see Commander Taylor flipping out. It kind of scares me because he's like the president of Terra Nova almost.
And kind of a psycho.
But yeah, and he seems a little crazy. But at the same time, it's like, what happens if he goes down and this virus takes over? They're really jumping into this in the 3rd episode. What do you guys think?
I'm excited to see it, and I think it'll be an interesting. Again, I think isn't it that the wife Elisabeth gets her memory erased, and Malcolm is the one who has to find the cure.
He reminds her. He's like, "Remember, I was really good at sex."
That could be it.
It probably is.
So again, and I kind of like how each episode will have its self-contained problem, and there'll be kind of a through line with the family, keeping it together. I know you don't like that, but I like that. So,
I'll get drunk next time.
Oh my God.
Well, before we Any other predictions you guys have?
Wait, that wasn't a prediction. That was like leading it up to.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's whatever. It's just what's gonna happen, I guess. But what do you guys think? Like, do you think that this is gonna take over the village and we're gonna see people die maybe in the next episode? Think there's gonna be any fatalities? Because we haven't really.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet.
I guess only with the military people, with the dinosaur. There was like 3 of them dead, laying in the jungle. But other than that, I mean, there really weren't any fatalities.
All right, what about this to make it really interesting? Malcolm, again, the spy, brought on this disease, and that's how we'll also tie back in the Sixers.
Ooh, I like that prediction.
Because we have to see them.
Yeah. I like Malcolm as a spy.
I think that's the element you're looking for.
It is.
Kristen likes Malcolm.
Yeah.
True story.
Well, any other predictions?
No, I kind of like yours.
I'm really kind of thrown off. Honestly, I'm really thrown off with the predictions because they're cutting off each story. It's like again, it's not leading. So I feel like a little bit. It's just like stopped. So I've my telepathic abilities are.
Fair enough.
Are closed.
Well, speaking of telepathic, we couldn't get Kendra to be on tonight's episode. She's in London, but we tried every method we could, and unfortunately, we just couldn't. Apparently, London, although a superpower city, we couldn't find a way.
No
in this
internet
day and
in
age
London.
to
Clearly, we're
call her
not
in.
technically advanced like 2149.
They're too busy drinking tea.
But nonetheless, she will be back next week,
Yeah,
and
she'll
we're
be
looking
back.
forward to it. And once again, if you're in the LA area or aren't in the LA area, you should get to the LA area. And October 9th, come to the John Lovitz Comedy Club to support our Breaking Bad after show. To book your tickets in advance, go to the johnlovitzcomedyclub.com, and that's John, G-O-N, not like G-O-H-N. And pre-book your tickets because we will reserve some tickets at the booth. But again, you don't want to get there. It's going to suck. Like, there's a lot of traffic going there, and you're going to get there, and you're going to buy your ticket, and it's going to be like, oh, we're sold out. Well, I want to get in on the show. So book your tickets in advance.
Book your tickets and wear your bathing suit.
tickets.
Wear your bathing suit because if not to show off your tatas, it is like in that club, it is like you're in Hawaii. And it's funny because John Lovitz is not the guy I picture in Hawaii, but it's totally like beach themed. It's like very tropical. Wear your Hawaiian shirt. It's tons of fun in there. They've got a bunch of different levels. It's just a cool club.
There you go. Right on. And you'll get to meet your AfterBuzz hosts, your favorite ones. So what's better than that?
And Kristen will be wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Underneath a cool shirt, so you won't be able to see that I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
There you go. Well, on behalf of myself,
Kristen, Carney,
Gabrielle Loren,
and DJ Jesse Jandy over in the booth, and our announcer, Sir Richard Wentworth, we thank you, and we'll be back next week.
See ya.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.